Hello my children. Welcome back to another video. Before we start, I would just like to thank all of you for 9,000 subscribers. Thank you so much for your support. As promised, or what the poll says, SemiShira wins this time. Also, I have an editing account on Insta. I post edits there, if you want to give it a look. The link to my account will be in the description below, as well as my Wit account. Anyway, let's go on with the video. Enjoy and don't forget to smile. Hi. Question marks. Goshiki return his phone right now. Question marks. Semi it's me. No. Impostor. My Shirabu won't text me first unless he's cuddle deprived, which happens very rarely, or it's about school or volleyball. Semi 𝐖𝐄𝐋𝐂𝐻 it's me. Ah, okay, it's definitely you. You're the only one who calls me an 𝐖𝐄𝐋𝐂. Yeah, because when I typed idiot wrong before, you wouldn't stop calling me 𝐖𝐄𝐋𝐂 for a whole week. You even changed my nickname to my 𝐖𝐄𝐋𝐂 Black Heart. For an entire week person standing. Don't forget that one time you called me stupid. It was a typo. You called me an 𝐖𝐄𝐋𝐂 so why can't I call you stupid? GRR fine. Rah. Wait I supposed to call you 𝐖𝐄𝐋𝐂 instead? It feels unnatural now if we change it. Oh, true. Also, I thought it was cute. You're cute in general. Number. Shira baby a lil cutie. Face with big pleading eyes. Semi. Sorry bub. You're just so adorable. Face with big pleading eyes. Since when have you been soft to me? Until you reciprocated your feelings to me, and gave me a shy kiss on my cheek. Oh my god you were so cute. Semi. I bet you're blushing. Scrapdemmed. Oh crap are you malfunctioning right now? Yes. Reboot. Shirabu tried not to laugh, looking at his texts with Semi. 𝙬𝙗𝙗𝐿. Rebooting. I love you. Shirabu eggs has successfully malfunctioned. Shirabu is about to call the simp police. You knew it would happen face with rolling eyes. Ha. What do you need, bub? Not really. Are you sure? I feel like something's up. Is something bothering you? Can we talk about it in person? Okay sure. Do you want me to come over right now? Wait, no. I'm coming over I don't care I miss you. Wait not right now, though. I'll be studying. Please. Later, though. Come over soon. Sad Semi face. Okay fine. Thanks Semi. See you later, red heart. Do you want me to order some pizza in advance? You better not eat the whole box without me. Or do you want to go somewhere else? Let's go somewhere then do that when we get back at my place. My parents aren't home until the day after tomorrow. New moon with face. Woof.
Would you like to cuddle and eat snacks together?
Shirabu is crying because of cuteness.
Perhaps.
Confused and frustrated noises.
Pain.
Yes you 𝐖𝐄𝐋𝐂 face with rolling eyes. Yay. Face with big pleading eyes. I'll be there in 2 hours stupid. Smiling face with hearts. Semi-cute black heart. Went offline. Shirabu closes his eyes, flopping down on his bed and breathed out a breath he didn't know he was holding. They've been dating for more than a year now. Shirabu hasn't been in a relationship before. Unlike Semi who's been on some. He was always reserved, and dating wasn't even an option in his book. The only mindset he has is to be good at school, to get a good job, and to be a good setter. That's it. But that's not how life is. Life provides you unexpected miracles, blessings, and beautiful catastrophes. One which Shirabu thinks is that Semi is his beautiful destruction. How does one show affection without being shy? Shirabu shakes his head. He grabs his math textbook, papers, pens, and everything else and started scribbling. He turned his music on and started doing his homework. There was a lot on his mind. A question he always wanted to ask Semi, but never had the time nor the courage to do. And it's been bothering him for weeks. Shirabu rubs his temple, trying to get rid of that aching feeling once more. He's losing focus. Focus. Kinjiro. Focus. Homework first. Think about your cute as hell boyfriend later. Oh my god. Shirabu groaned, slapping his palms on his face, leaving a mark that'll fade eventually. Focus you damn 𝐖𝐄𝐋𝐂. Shirabu picked his pen up again, and started scribbling equations down on his paper. His mind was filled with nothing other than Semi, and Semi. He loves him so much. He feels like the luckiest man alive to be lucky enough to have him, to be with him. But his emotions that he was keeping inside, keeping from Semi, is making all the positive thoughts go away, only to be replaced by every single horrible scenario he can think of. Shirabu closes his eyes, trying to keep his emotions at bay. He then continues to scribble, hoping that his answers were even correct to begin with. Two hours later, Shirabu finally finished 2 homeworks due the next week. He sighed in relief knowing that all of his homeworks due next week were finally completed. All he needed to worry about now is his emotions and his boyfriend. As he was organizing his desk and making sure his papers, notebooks, pens, and other important materials for school were properly arranged, he hears his doorbell ringing. It was probably Semi. His heart started skipping a beat. He tries not to smile too much or he might scare his boyfriend away, or so what he thinks. No matter how long they were dating or even if the years comes and goes, his heart will always skip a beat as if it was their first date together, and that'll never change. Shirabu looked at the mirror, making himself presentable before opening the door. Once he reached in front of his door, the bell ringing twice, he was about to open it until the door suddenly bursts open, revealing a smug-looking Semi. Hey. Semi gives him a flirtatious wink, and places his hand on Shirabu's head top. Shirabu doesn't like being patted on because, quote unquote, it'll make me feel smaller than I already am. But regardless, he loves it when Semi does it to him. Hell, he loves it when he's cuddling him, his stolen kisses, his attention, really. But will he ever admit it? I don't think so. Shirabu rolled his eyes and lightly slaps his hand away. He glares at him and crossed his arms. You know I don't like that. I feel small. We don't have that much difference between us, though. You're still taller than me. Hush. Plus, you're huggable sized since I can do this. Semi then, swiftly, grabbed his left arm and pulled him to his chest. Shirabu's eyes widened, not exactly comprehending what had happened in a few milliseconds. His face was buried deep in Semi's coat, his sweater smelling like vanilla and lavender. Shirabu couldn't help but feel warm and cozy, loving the way his arms was wrapped around his neck as his boyfriend hugs him tightly. Shirabu, unconsciously, returned the hug, his arms wrapped around his waist on the inside of his jacket. He buries his face deeper on his chest and inhaled his scent once more, his worries fading away in just one embrace. Shirabu realizes what happened and cleared his throat, breaking the embrace and looking down at the ground, his face red. Shirabu clears his throat. Do you want to you Semi go want to? Shirabu stops, scolding himself. Use your words, 𝐼𝐄𝐋𝐿, he mutters quietly to himself. Semi tried to contain his laughter, covering his mouth with his palm as he looks at Shirabu, his face getting red each second. Semi then bursts out laughing. Semi don't laugh. Semi laughs harder, clutching his stomach. Oh my god Semi. Stop. Shirabu groans and covers his face with both of his palms, his eyes narrowing tightly at how embarrassing this was. Semi's laughter died down. He then places his hands over Shirabu's and moves them away from his face. Shirabu looked away immediately, pouting angrily. Hey, I'm sorry. TSK. Semi then placed his index on his chin, forcing him to look at him straight in his eyes, their gaze never breaking. Shirabu found breathing a difficult task to do. Semi gave him a charming smile that makes Shirabu's heart race. You can't blame me. You look so adorable. Kinjiro. You look even cuter in my arms, though. Semi winked at him. He then swiftly gave a quick peck on his cheek and moved back, a smirk on his face as he looks at Shirabu whose face was, once again, nothing but red. Let's go, bub. The diner might close soon. Shirabu nods. But his head was empty. His mind went blank at one kiss Semi gave him. Semi walked out of the house, not bothering to close it and started walking towards the sidewalk. Oh my god what just happened? Semi you little. Shirabu shakes his head, annoyed but flustered. He grabs a coat nearby and stepped outside, locking the door and making sure no one can enter while they're gone. He walks towards Semi, who was blowing out a breath in the wind, the cold making his cheeks slightly red as his eyes were closed. The sight was beautiful. Shirabu clears his throat. Semi glanced at him and smiled. Shall we? Shirabu nods. They started walking to the nearby diner, their hands in their pockets to keep them warm. The walk was silent. Shirabu thought that maybe this was the right opportunity to tell him what was wrong, but at the same time he thinks now wasn't the right time. Shirabu noticed Semi's hands slightly shaking inside of his pockets. Shirabu contemplated on doing it for a while, then decided he should moments later. He grabs his left hand on his right, intertwining it with his and stuffing it in his pocket. Semi was taken aback, his face as red as Shirabu's as they walked together towards the dinner, their face red, but their hands warm in Shirabu's pocket. I can't believe they ran out of coffee. At least they have hot cocoa. But still, my precious coffee. What? Am I not precious to you anymore? Please tell me you're not jealous because of some silly coffee. Are you crazy? I'm not. Sure. I'm not either. Why are you so worked up for? Because of your face. My handsome face, what does that have to do with anything? Shirabu, annoyed, threw a crumpled tissue paper at his face that almost went inside of his mouth when Semi was laughing. He rolls his eyes when Semi dramatically flops his forehead on the table, whining. They were already at the diner by this time. They were there for at least 3 hours. Semi and Shirabu went to a diner that had a vintage aesthetic. Their booth was near the speakers on where you can connect your phone to play music anytime you want. The diner was empty. There were 2 old couples on a booth not too far away from them, and the old man serving drinks for the cold season. Other than that, they were alone. Shirabu was about to tell Semi that he was acting like a Winnie baby until the entrance's bell rang, signaling that there were new costumers. Shirabu clasps a hand over his mouth. Semi raised an eyebrow at him and stood up to look at what he was looking at when Shirabu dragged him by the ear, pulling him back to his seat next to him. Don't get up, you idiot. Don't let them see you. Who? SHH. Shirabu looks over at the 2 boys who came in, his eyebrows still raised upwards in shock. No way. Kinjiro, do you have a thing for ears? What? Let go of my ear, bub. Please, it hurts. Shirabu looks down at his ear, then lets go. He gave him a grimace. Oh damn, a red mark. Yeah, oh damn. Shirabu rolls his eyes, then looks at the 2 boys. Shirabu pointed at the 2, showing Semi the 2 pair. Semi looked unfazed. Oh, Tendao and Wakatoshi? Why aren't you shocked? Aren't they on a date? Are they secretly on a date? Semi chuckles. Nah, I don't think they are. They aren't even a thing yet, but everyone in the team knows they like each other. They are so dense. Shirabu was so shocked. They do? Semi flicks his nose playfully. Yes, dum-dum. It's so obvious that they do. Shirabu grabs a French fry and throws it at Semi's face. Semi, with his great reflexes, opened his mouth when the fry went flying towards him. He chews on it while smirking at Shirabu. Idiot. Stupid. So, do you wanna do a harmless prank on them before we head home? Semi gave him a confused, but amused, grin. Since when do you initiate or even do pranks? Especially to your senpais? Until now, isn't it the month where you're supposed to be jolly? You're definitely on Santa's naughty list. Never planned to be on his nice list each year. Semi chuckles, a mischievous grin on his face. So, what's on your mind, bub? A few moments later, after Shirabu went outside and told Semi to wait for him there, he came back with a small box on his palm, his face stoic. Shirabu sat next to Semi and showed him the box. What's that? Shirabu opened the box, revealing a realistic-looking toy spider. Semi looked back up to Shirabu's eyes, his eyes shining with mischievousness. You know, both Tendao and Wakatoshi aren't afraid of spiders. Yeah, they aren't, but it's the surprised look on their faces. The unexpected is scarier. Why do you sound like a villain just now? I did not. You did. I did not. You did though. I did know. Semi clasps a palm on his mouth, silencing him. Tendao and Ashijima glanced around the place, wondering who was screaming. Don't raise your voice, stupid. They might see us. Shirabu grunts, slapping his hand away. Ugh, Let's get this over with. I wanna go back home. But really, his home was Semi's warmth and his embrace. Semi rolled his eyes, then slowly stands up. He crouched, trying to hide themselves from 𝙤𝙗𝙗 and 𝙤𝙯𝙪, who was too busy looking at the menu, wondering what they want to order. Semi gave Shirabu a tight squeeze in their intertwined hands when they were only a table away from them, hiding behind a photo booth. Shirabu lets go of his hand and slowly opened the box. He grabs the toy spider, then glanced at Semi. Semi smirked at him, then nodded. Shirabu bit his lower lip, trying not to show how much fun he was having. Shirabu waited until they both placed the menu back on the table. Once 𝙤𝙗𝙗 and 𝙤𝙯𝙪 placed the menu back on the tabletop, 𝙤𝙗𝙗 was about to speak until Shirabu threw the spider at them, making it land on the middle of table. 𝙤𝙗𝙗 screeched and jumped. He jumped onto 𝙤𝙯𝙪. His arms were around his neck while 𝙤𝙯𝙪 carried him bridal style. Shirabu and Semi tried not to let their giggling and laughter escape when they saw 𝙤𝙗𝙗 blushing while looking at his position with 𝙤𝙯𝙪. 𝙤𝙯𝙪 had a slight tint of red on his cheeks, but his face was still stoic. Before Semi was about to make a side comment, Shirabu couldn't contain his laughter and started laughing hysterically. He was clutching his stomach as his eyes watered a little. Semi looked at him in awe, his heart thumping so loud. He hasn't seen Shirabu laugh like this for months, let alone have this much fun. Semi couldn't help but fall deeper in love with him. He's all he needs this Christmas. Shirabu wiped a tear forming from the corner of his eyes and glanced at Semi. His face still had a small smile on his lips. That was fun, Eater. Semi wanted to hug him right there and then. He's so cute. It was, bub. Shirabu was about to say something until 𝙤𝙗𝙗 and 𝙤𝙯𝙪 noticed them. Semi, Shirabu. Shirabu and Semi's eyes widened. They glanced at 𝙤𝙗𝙗, who was still in 𝙤𝙯𝙪's arms, his face filled with annoyance and a tint of amusement. Hello. You too little. 𝙤𝙗𝙗 hopped off of 𝙤𝙯𝙪, and slowly started walking towards them. Semi and Shirabu's eyes widened. They looked at each other, then nodded, ready to bolt out of there. On your mark. Get set. 𝙤𝙗𝙗 glanced at them in confusion. Go. They started sprinting out of the diner, 𝙤𝙗𝙗 screaming at them. Not once did they turn back. They ran, and ran, and ran, their faces filled with joy as their hands were, once more, intertwined. When they reached Shirabu's home, it was already 5 in the afternoon. It was already getting dark, though. Semi noticed that something was wrong. Shirabu. He remembers Shirabu's text a few hours ago, his lips tugging down with a concerned pout. He knows Shirabu. He knows that looks, that posture, that pout, on his face when something's on his mind. Semi thought of a way to get his attention. After a brief moment of thinking, he then crouched down, grabbing a handful of snow on his right palm. Oh, Shirabu Kinjiro. Shirabu glances at Semi, blowing out a breath. He then looks down at his hand, which was slowly rising up to a position that was ready to hit him anytime. Shirabu raises an eyebrow as he looks at Semi's face, his lips tugging up slightly. Shirabu winked at Semi, who was slightly taken aback. Before Semi was about to say something, his mind blank, Shirabu threw a snowball at him, laughing at his shocked and confused face. Wah. You were so distracted. My plan worked. Semi realizes what he did, then snarled. Oh, you're gonna get it. Scurry. Then, the rest of the time was spent with Semi and Shirabu fighting and throwing snowballs at one another, laughing and screaming with frustration. They were having the time of their lives. As snowballs were thrown left and right, their bodies feeling cold and in need of warmth, they didn't mind as long as they were together, as long as they have each other. Love is difficult to describe when it comes to their relationship. But, as long as they have each other, it was as if it was them against every obstacle in their way. Together, they feel invincible. When they finally felt tired, Semi suggested that he and Shirabu should head inside. Shirabu nodded, exhausted. Once they went inside, Shirabu and Semi removing their coats and hanging it on the side, Semi flopped down on the sofa that was next to the fireplace, keeping himself warm. He was about to close his eyes until he felt Shirabu's body hovering over him, hugging him tightly as he buries his face on his chest. Semi smiled at him, and started tracing circles on his back. After a moment of silence between the two, Shirabu finally spoke up. Semi? Yes bub? I'm scared. Semi shifts a little to look at him properly, his face confused as ever. What are you afraid of? What if? I mean, you're graduating in a few months. Semi, you're going to uni, and didn't you say you were planning on going to a university that's miles from here? I mean, yeah, we did plan that when it's my turn to graduate and I'll be in the same university as you in 2 years and would share a dorm with you. But it's scary. I wanna be with you every time. And it'll be new to me knowing I wouldn't be able to see your face at school every day, walk to you to school, or practice volleyball together, when you graduate, and you would be miles away from me. And what if you'll find someone better? What if they can give you things that I can't? What if he or she's even better at volleyball than me? Or what if they're perfect? Perfect for you. What if they're? Semi cuts him off with a soft kiss on his lips, his hands cupping his face gently. He lets go and gave him a warm smile. You're always one to overthink, Shira. I love you so much, Kinjiro. Sure, we may not spend more time together in school when I graduate, but you will always be on my mind each day. You always are. You're always on my mind, and you're the only guy I will love. No else has my heart but you. It'll be tough at first with the long distance relationship we'll have, but I promise I'll FaceTime you whenever I'm free, or come over during the weekends. Plus, you have Goshiki, though. I'm pretty sure he doesn't mind hanging out with you during your free time before, after, and during practice. After all, you guys are besties, right? Shirabu rolls his eyes, grunting. Semi laughs. He gives a quick kiss on his forehead. Bubs, we can get through this together. Don't overthink about that. Alright, I love you. You love me. That's all that matters. I will always be with you. In times in distress and happy times. 1 to 2 more years until you graduate. Bubs, let's hold on a little longer, alright? Then we can finally be in the same uni. Don't ever be afraid. Alright, we got this. You got this. Shirabu looks up at him, his eyes a bit glossy. You're so sweet, it's scary. Semi chuckles. I want to do more snowball fights with you, Semi. Nothing's stopping us, Shirabu. As long as you stay, I'll stay. I'll stay. Ita. Shirabu smiles a little at Semi. I love you. Semi's heart skips a beat. I love you too. Shirabu hugs Semi tighter, burying his face once more on his chest. Semi grabs a blanket nearby, and places the blanket in them. He then slowly wraps his arms around him, and snuggled his face on the crook of his neck. Their embrace made the cold slowly disappear, only to be engulfed by the feeling of warmth and love. Snowball fights, cranks on your senpace, and cuddles and kisses. This was, truly, the most wonderful time of the year. End.